how to perform ghusl according to the Sunnah method after once a person has slept with his wife. What is the correct method? The way Rasulullah ﷺ would do it, and the way the ulama have taught us, is very, very simply, a man, he goes and he washes his hands first. That's the first thing he does. He makes intention that he's performing ghusl, faraz ghusl. He goes and washes his hands. After washing his hands, he washes around his private parts or wherever the impurity has reached. Once he has dealt with that area, then that individual, he performs wuzu. This, like I said, the sunnah method. You perform wuzu. After you perform wuzu, the wuzu that you perform for your salah, your full wuzu. And what the ulama have written is, whilst you are performing that wuzu, you can also wash your feet, because some ulama have said that you should leave your feet right towards the end. Once you've completely had a bath, full bath, then you can wash your feet. But many ulama have said the same thing, you can wash your feet, especially nowadays. In them days, why they would really do that is because, wherever they were standing, it would be muddy and it would be dirty and stuff, and then, their feet would get dirty once again. So ulama have written nowadays, obviously, because there's showers, there's a bath, the water's constantly flowing, it's not napak water, therefore you can immediately wash your feet. And then after that, a person, he pours water over his right shoulder 3 times, he pours water over his left shoulder 3 times, he pours water over his head 3 times, and then he pours water over the full body, and he gives the full body a scrub, not missing out an area equivalent to even a hair. Every single hair, every single part of your body, especially those parts sometimes that we might be a bit negligent about, the belly button, between the toes, a person's beard, his ear holes, his nostrils, getting the water up there properly. So once he's performed his wuzu, he puts water on his right 3 times, 3 times on his left, 3 times above his head. You get water. This is a faraz. This is a faraz, an obligation, that you have to make sure that the water, when you put inside your nose, it goes right to your soft bone. That you make sure you give it a good squiggle, put your finger right inside, get the water right inside. If that bone, that soft bone which we call, if that bone is not soaked with the water, the ghusl and your faraz bath is not complete. So you have to make sure that you get the water in there. You have to make sure that you gargle, you put water inside. If you're fasting, if it's Ramadanul Mubarak, you've woken up and you've had a wet dream. Now obviously you can't gargle the water, because the water obviously is going to go down your throat. So what's the best thing to do? The best thing is just to put water inside your mouth and just gargle like we normally gargle for wuzu. So you've got your gargling done, you've got your water inside your nose, and the 3 times is the sunnah. If a person performs it 3 times, put 3 times water inside his mouth, 3 times in his nose, 3 times on his right, 3 times on his left, 3 times above his head, and then he washes his whole entire body. This is the correct and complete way of having a bath after an individual has engaged and slept with his wife. Some of the sunnats and mustahabs, a person should try to use as less water as possible. But that doesn't mean that you leave areas dry. If it means using an extra jug, an extra bucket, an extra 3-4 minutes just to be sure that you have not left anything dry, then that's absolutely permissible and is good. You should be thorough inside your taharat, because like I've mentioned many times before, your ibadat all depends upon your taharat. However pak and saf you are, however pure and cleansed you are, the more effect your ibadat is going to have upon you. The more thorough your ghusl is, the more thorough your wuzu is, the more effect that is going to have. Another thing, a very important thing to consider is we should try not to face the Qibla. If your shower at home or your bath at home is in a way that if it's facing the Qibla, then you should try to move in such a way you've got your side, either your left side to the Qibla or either your right side to the Qibla, so that your back and your front is not facing the Qibla. There's actually a hadith in which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that when an individual, he goes to answer the call of nature, when he goes to the toilet, and if that person realizes whilst he's doing while he's answering the call of nature, if he realizes that I am facing the Qibla, if at that time he turns around away from the Qibla because of his respect and honor for the Qibla, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive all his sins. Allah will forgive all of his sins. This is a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that if a person, he realizes, look, I'm facing the Qibla. So inshallah, I'm not saying definitely, but inshallah, if a person, he's in the shower and he realizes, because what's the main purpose? That when you're in the bath, when you're answering the call of nature, the whole point is so that your private parts, both your front and back, is not facing the Qibla. This is your ihtiram and honor and respect for the Qibla. So same thing when a person is an individual, he's in the shower or is in the bath, and he makes sure and he is punctual upon not facing his private parts and his body towards the Qibla, whether it's the back or the front. Inshallah, he will be rewarded, inshallah, and inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive his sins. So this is the correct way of having a bath after an individual he slept with his wife.